Imagine you've spent your entire childhood being, basically beaten into a living weapon.
Yeah, just told every single day that if you just bleed enough, endure enough, you will eventually earn a ticket to paradise.
Right. And you internalize that pain, you make it your armor. But what happens when you finally cross the gates of heaven, wipe the blood from your eyes, and realize it's just a slaughterhouse in disguise?
That's such a brutal
Yeah,
concept.
it really is. Welcome to today's deep dive. We are taking you straight into the dark, deceptive world of Emily Blackwood's Wings So Wicked. It's the first book in the Golden City series.
And our mission today is to unpack a landscape built entirely on dark magic, lethal academies, and, frankly, massive systemic manipulation.
Exactly. And to truly understand the architecture of that manipulation, you have to look at where this story forces you to start.
Right. We are dropped into this world called Vehadis, specifically a decaying, ash-choked settlement called Midgrave. It is a city of just profound desperation.
Yeah, it's grim.
Extremely. The lore tells the citizens that vampires, these monsters of pure destruction, ruin the world, forcing humanity and the Fae into these crumbling slums. So fear is the primary currency.
And operating in the absolute darkest corners of this sphere economy is our protagonist, Huntyr. And she is an absolute lethal force.
Oh yeah, she isn't just surviving the slums, she is a highly trained assassin.
Right. She was raised by this shadow figure known only as Lord, and his training regimen is essentially continuous, merciless physical and psychological abuse.
It's horrific. He whips her, he beats her, he basically forces her to suppress every human emotion.
Yeah, until she is nothing but a blade meant for one purpose, right? Hunting and killing vampires. And then he drops the ultimate mission on her,
Sending her away to compete for a spot in the Golden City.
which is the ultimate carrot dangled in front of a starving populace. The Golden City is this mythical walled utopia.
Right, where the elite fae and archangels supposedly live in absolute perfection. No poverty, no vampires, just pure magic and safety.
But the entry fee is surviving an institution called Moira Seminary. So, okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
In a world where survival literally means wearing a mask and hiding every piece of your true self, what happens when the utopia you're bleeding for turns out to be the biggest lie of all?
Well, getting into Moira Seminary is essentially walking into a meat grinder.
That's the perfect way to describe it.
Yeah, the headmistress, Catherine, greets the new students with an orientation that tells you everything you need to know about this society. She lays out two rules.
Right. Rule number 1, don't kill your roommates outside of class. Rule number 2, stay alive.
What's fascinating here is the underlying psychology of an institution that actually permits murder as a pedagogical tool.
It's wild. It's like the ultimate toxic extreme of hustle culture.
Exactly. If you look at the power dynamics, Catherine isn't just running a tough school. She is executing a brilliant mechanism of oppressive control.
By turning the students against each other.
Right. By telling desperate students from the slums that their peers are their greatest threat, she instantly isolates them. She creates a complete vacuum of paranoia.
Because when students are terrified of the person sleeping in the bed next to them, they never form alliances.
And without alliances, they never look up to question the authority of the institution itself.
But wait, I'm stuck on the logic of this system. I mean, if the Golden City is supposedly this perfect, civilized utopia for the elite,
Right.
why are they recruiting kids from impoverished slums and actively encouraging them to slaughter each other? That sounds like you're building a feral, traumatized army, not curating a civilized society.
That contradiction is the core illusion of their meritocracy. The architects of the Golden City don't want enlightened philosophers or compassionate leaders.
They want guard dogs.
Exactly. They need malleable, ruthless weapons who are so grateful to escape the poverty of Midgrave that they will do absolutely anything to protect the elite.
So the institution inherently rewards sociopathy over actual talent or goodness.
Right. Which we see play out almost immediately in the most horrific way. The student body is this volatile mix of cruel legacy elites who grew up with resources and innocent fae just trying to survive.
Right, like that student writer. He's one of the arrogant elites, and he decides he needs to make a point about who belongs at Moira.
And they're all just sitting in the dining hall when he does it.
Yeah. Ryder casually summons his natural wind magic, creates a localized vacuum around a younger, innocent student named Makis, and literally sucks the oxygen out of the kid's lungs.
While Makis is suffocating in front of everyone, Ryder slits his throat.
Just to prove a point about weaklings, it's so disturbing.
But the defining element of that scene isn't even just the violence, it's the institutional silence that follows. Headmistress Catherine witnesses this and offers zero immediate consequences.
Yeah, to the faculty, Ryder didn't commit a crime. He successfully demonstrated dominance. He passed an unspoken test.
But Huntyr was forged by Lord to be a weapon, and weapons don't just sit quietly.
No, they don't. She operates completely outside the school's approved methods of violence.
She tracks Ryder down later in secret and brutally executes him to avenge Micus.
And she uses her assassin skills to stage the body to look like a wild animal attack. She is playing the sociopath's game way better than they are.
Right, but her internal compass is still demanding some twisted version of justice.
Yeah, exactly.
But surviving physical combat and, navigating cafeteria assassinations is really only the baseline at Moira.
Oh, for sure. To actually graduate and reach the Golden City, students have to master the mechanics of magic.
And in Vejhadis, magic isn't an arbitrary wave-a-wand phenomenon. It operates on strict physical laws, divided primarily into natural magic and blood magic.
Natural magic is basically drawing ambient energy from the earth or the elements, right? Like Ryder manipulating the wind.
Exactly. But blood magic operates on an entirely different, much darker thermodynamic principle.
Yeah, to access blood magic, you have to make a physical sacrifice. You literally have to take a blade, cut your own flesh, and channel your intent through the release of your own blood.
And Huntyr struggles massively with this. Her mind is a chaotic fortress built to keep trauma out.
But when she is finally forced into a corner where she has to summon this power, she takes her dagger, which is literally named Venom, by the way, and slices into the deep, unhealed whip scars covering her back.
The very scars left by Lord's years of abuse. It's such a heavy moment.
It really is.
Because the mechanics of drawing power from a trauma scar are completely volatile. She isn't just releasing blood.
Right. She is tapping into a reservoir of condensed, calcified psychological and physical pain.
Exactly. The energetic output of that kind of sacrifice is astronomical. It completely bypasses all the natural filters a magic user normally relies on to keep their physical vessel safe.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Think about the dark metaphor Emily Blackwood is building here.
Oh, absolutely.
It's almost like overclocking a computer processor by completely bypassing the cooling system. You get a massive, immediate surge of processing power, but you are literally melting your own hardware to do it.
Yeah. Blood magic is weaponizing your own trauma. You have to actively reopen your deepest wounds just to survive your current ones.
But you can't just keep bleeding yourself forever without collapsing, right? It's totally unsustainable.
Right, and the physical toll is catastrophic. When Huntyr taps into the trauma stored in those whip scars, the magic basically detonates out of her.
The kinetic energy transfer is so violent it nearly destroys her own body.
She bleeds out so much magical energy that she collapses in the courtyard, literally seconds away from death.
She completely exceeded the limits of a single human vessel.
Yeah, she requires immediate external intervention.
And that intervention comes from the absolute last person she wants anywhere near her.
Her assigned roommate, Wolf Jasper.
Yes. Wolf is the anomaly of Moira Seminary. While everyone else is Fae, Wolf is a fallen angel. He walks around with these massive, terrifying black wings.
He is arrogant, brooding, and spends most of his time just infuriating Huntyr.
But when she is melting her own hardware in the courtyard, Wolf steps in. He uses his own magic, stabilizes her, and heals her wounds.
And his intervention introduces the mechanics of the magical bond, which is a crucial survival tactic taught at the academy.
Right. The instructors explain that tying your magical reserve to another person creates a shared energetic load.
It acts as a pressure valve. If one person overdraws their magic, the tether pulls from the partner, preventing a fatal burnout.
But forming that bond requires linking your nervous system and your emotional state with someone else.
Which is terrifying for Huntyr.
Exactly. For someone who was beaten by Lord every time she showed trust, vulnerability is literally a death sentence.
She's terrified of the bond, and she's especially terrified of Wolf, because he constantly sees through that hardened assassin mask she wears.
Her absolute refusal to bond creates this volatile triangle, pushing her toward the two contrasting figures in her life at Moira.
You have Lanson and you have Wolf, and they serve as a total inversion of the social contracts you typically expect in this kind of survival environment.
Yeah, Lanson is presented as the quintessential nice guy. He is a fae from the Midgrave slums, just like Huntyr.
He speaks her language. He courts her. He's sweet. He asks her to the school ball.
In an academy where kids are getting the air sucked out of their lungs, Lanson feels like a life raft. He represents the comfort of the known,
But Wolf operates completely outside that social contract. He is universally feared.
Right, he is a fallen angel, an outcast among elites, and he constantly provokes Huntyr.
Yet his actions consistently contradict his monstrous label. He absorbs her magical bleed-off. He physically shields her from Ryder's vindictive friends.
And he even orchestrates the repair of her broken dagger in secret.
Exactly. So the friction between these two dynamics explodes during the school's ball. Everyone is dressed up, pretending they aren't prisoners in a meat grinder.
And Wolf literally cuts in on Lanson and Hunter's dance to issue a blunt warning. He tells her Lanson is a coward and cannot be trusted.
But Hunter dismisses it as possessive arrogance.
The Academy doesn't give her time to debate it, though. They immediately drop the students into the final, deadly graduation test.
To transcend it.
Yes, the instructors basically dump them into a pitch-black, sprawling forest teeming with rabid vampires.
This isn't a controlled sparring match.
Ugh.
It is pure, unadulterated survival.
And out there in the dark, when the threat of being ripped apart is immediate, the masks finally drop.
They really do. Lanson, the sweet, relatable life raft, the second a horde of vampires descends on them, his social contract evaporates entirely.
Driven by pure, cowardly self-preservation, Lanson uses his magic to erect a massive wall of fire.
But he doesn't use it to shield Hunter and Wolf.
No. He uses it to trap them behind the flames, sacrificing them as bait so he can run away.
The mechanics of that betrayal are devastating, because the fire directly neutralizes Wolf's only physical advantage.
The flames catch Wolf's wings, severely burning them and stripping away his ability to fly.
Lanson leaves them grounded, injured, and entirely at the mercy of the approaching vampire horde.
It is such a brilliant subversion of morality. Lanson's betrayal is terrifying because it reveals that his kindness was merely a performance for when times were easy.
Right. The second it cost him something, he became the monster.
Meanwhile, Wolf, the guy who wears the literal label of abomination, is the one trapped in the fire, bleeding for her.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the burning forest is where the deepest lore of Vehades is finally exposed.
Yeah, because you have to ask, how does an angel become a fallen winged nightmare in the first place?
Wolf reveals that he didn't commit some grand sin to earn his black wings. His own father, Archangel Asmodeus, used dark, corruptive magic to forcefully mutate Wolf's essence.
He spliced Angel Grace with vampire venom, basically rewriting Wolf's DNA to turn him into a hybrid.
Which is an insane violation.
His own father turned him into the very monster their society is built to eradicate.
He is a walking contradiction of their entire political order. And yet there in the woods, stripped of all defenses, this manufactured monster looks at Hunter May and offers her the ultimate grace.
He tells her he will stay behind. He will let the vampires tear him apart to buy her enough time to run through the fading fire and reach the Golden City alone.
He offers to be the sacrifice.
But Hunter, the girl who spent her entire life running, the assassin trained to prioritize the mission over absolutely everything, finally breaks her programming.
She looks at Wolf, looks at the horde, and refuses to leave him.
She chooses the bond over her own survival. They stand back to back, fighting a completely unwinnable battle against the rabid vampires until they are entirely overwhelmed.
The horde takes them down, they die.
But the narrative completely shatters the paradigm at this exact moment. Hunter and Wolf open their eyes, no longer in the burning forest, but suspended in a dark void.
And standing before them is Hera, the goddess of Vehades.
And the goddess drops a revelation that completely rewrites everything we thought we knew about Moira Seminary.
Dying in that forest wasn't a failure.
Death was the actual test.
Exactly. The Academy spent months violently programming these kids to step on each other's throats, to use wind magic to suffocate the weak, to abandon their friends behind firewalls.
But the goddess's true metric for entering the utopia was the exact opposite.
Right. The only way to earn passage was to willingly lay down your life for someone else.
By choosing to die with Wolf, Huntyr inadvertently passed the ultimate hidden exam.
The goddess grants them passage, and they wake up on the other side. They finally open their eyes inside the legendary Golden City.
But the hits just do not stop coming, because they look around and there are no pristine streets, there are no safe havens.
It is a filthy, decaying, ruined slum.
The visual shock of that arrival is profound. The architecture of the Golden City mirrors the impoverished, ash-covered streets of Midgrave almost exactly.
The utopia they bled for, the paradise that kept the citizens of Vehades subservient, is a complete fabrication.
It's just a lie. And before Hunter can even process the psychological break of realizing her entire life's goal was a lie, a squad of angels descends on them.
They are captured, bound, and dragged deep underground into a massive hidden throne room.
And sitting on that throne is Archangel Asmodeus.
The very father who mutated Wolf.
Yeah. And Asmodeus isn't just a cruel parent. He is the architect of the realm's political structure.
And the revelation he delivers ties the entire universe together, connecting all the way back to Hunter's mysterious origins with Lord.
Asmodeus looks at Hunter and strips away the final mask. She isn't just a random orphan from the slums.
She isn't just a lethal assassin.
No. Her true name is Huntyrena Fulmal Gawarula. She is the lost, half-fae, half-vampire queen of the Scarlata Empire.
The political implications of her bloodline are absolutely staggering. The history books in Vehadis claim the vampire kingdom was destroyed.
But in reality, it was just scattered. Asmodeus has spent 24 years searching for the rightful Scarlata queen.
Right, because he doesn't want to kill the vampires. He wants to monopolize their power.
By controlling Huntyr, he gains absolute command over the entire vampire masses, turning the monsters of the realm into his personal army.
And the knife twists even deeper. Because Asmodeus didn't just stumble upon her.
Wolf knew.
Wolf was sent to Midgrave by his father, specifically to hunt down the lost queen and shepherd her through Moira Seminary.
He was a honeypot, an operative.
Exactly. Even though he undeniably fell in love with her along the way and offered to die for her in the forest, his original mission was to deliver her right into his father's cage.
The book closes its final pages on an image of sheer manipulative cruelty. Asmodeus stands in the throne room, pressing a blade against Wolf's newly healed wings.
He leverages Wolf's life to force Hunter's absolute compliance.
She has to accept the crown of the monster she was raised to kill, or watch the only person she ever formed a bond with be mutilated.
So what does this all mean?
Look at the sheer scale of the deception. The entire system, the poverty of Midgrave, the slaughter at Moira Seminary, the myth of the beautiful Golden City, was artificially engineered specifically to entrap her.
It kept the desperate Fae fighting each other so they would never look up at the angels pulling the strings.
And honestly, you have to look back at Lord, the man who abused her into becoming a weapon. If he raised the secret vampire queen specifically to hunt her own kind, was he part of Asmodeus's design?
It's a terrifying thought.
Was her entire life just a meticulously planned psychological torture session to prepare her for this exact throne room?
It leaves Hunter facing an existential crisis that no amount of physical combat training can solve.
Exactly. Every single identity she ever built to survive. The invisible orphan, the hardened assassin, the hopeful student, has been violently stripped away.
She's been handed the reins to an empire she was taught to despise, trapped in a ruined city by the holy figures of her world.
Emily Blackwood takes you through an absolute meat grinder of a narrative with wings so wicked.
It really is a masterclass in examining how elite institutions weaponize trauma and how the promise of a better life is often used as the ultimate leash.
It challenges the very concept of merit.
Right. When the system itself is corrupt, passing its tests doesn't make you elite. It just makes you complicit.
And that brings us right back to you. Think about the golden cities operating in your own life right now.
The elusive corner office, the prestigious title.
Or the elite social circle you might be actively sacrificing your peace, your time, or your own moral compass to reach.
Exactly.
Ask yourself, if you finally crossed those walls tomorrow, having bled for every inch, would you actually find the utopia you were promised?
Or would you just find another set of chains cleverly disguised as a throne?
Something to chew on the next time an institution asks you to bleed for a prize you've never actually seen. Thank you for stepping into the dark with us on this deep dive.